it is a pleasure and honor for the South Sudan Civil Society Alliance to welcome the Chinese ambassador to the Republic of South Sudan and South Sudanese ambassador to China. Both of them are here to discuss very important issues on regard to the bonds between the two sister countries, the relationship between the two countries, the role that Chinese are providing in the world in terms of coronavirus pandemic. What are they providing? We also will discuss, because we need more information from the Chinese ambassador, because the virus started in China. Some of us may have only few information or the background about it, and we want to learn from the Chinese how they fought the virus, how they contain the virus. And as we speak, I'm not making comparison, but China is better off in terms of fighting the virus compared to other countries. So we want to learn from their historical fighting of such a pandemic virus that has turned the life of the people to be miserable. We want to learn from there. Also, we are here, honestly, as people of South Sudan, as civil society leaders, to appreciate and thank China for what they have been doing to our people, to our nation, and to Africa in terms of developmental projects that they are doing in our country and other countries, in terms of leadership that they are providing in the world, actually, in terms of their usual support to the Republic of South Sudan, whether during the war 2013, or whether in 2016, or even now in South Sudan. You may recall China is supporting the security arrangement mechanisms in terms of they are providing support for our forces that are being trained, the National Army for the Republic of South Sudan. And we are very glad that Ambassador is here, and we have, on behalf of our people, to thank him for their support. As per the pandemic, coronavirus also, they are supporting many countries, not only South Sudan, but we must also say thank you for what you are doing. And that applies to our able ambassador, John Anuruga, for his leadership also, and his effort to coordinate all these activities. Yes, we want also to alert the public at this juncture that please, here we are. You are going to listen from somebody who is tested, who has the knowledge of how to fight the coronavirus, not only as an individual, but as a country, as a China. So it will be opportunity for the people of South Sudan to listen to his voice. As for Civil Society Alliance, currently our role is just to make an awareness. It's just to spread the message of the guideline of the Ministry of Health, the guideline of World Health Organization. And I want to inform the public here that we have written to the South Sudan High-Level Task Force, led by the President, deputized by the First Vice President. And of course, we are working together with them. We have recommended about 14 points and we are glad today to announce that the task force have put attention to those recommendations. For example, we have asked the task force on the 1st of April that all domestic flights must be banned or suspended. A movement from state to state has to stop. I'm glad they have actually done that. But for the first time, that such high-level committee is cooperating with the citizen. We are very happy that the task force, they are doing their job. We are also concerned about ventilators, because last March, when I confirmed, I was told we only had about 4 or 5 in South Sudan. Today, I don't know how many we have. And we are fighting an evil virus, coronavirus. This is a country of more than 12 million people, where you don't even have 12 ventilators. How are we going to fight when we don't have such equipment? We brought it to attention of the task force, by the way, and the Ministry of Health. And they are doing their best, especially the health workers, the medical doctors, the technocrats of this country are doing their best. And on their behalf, I want to thank all of them for putting their life in risk to save our lives. This is very critical that our healthcare leaders, workers, and all the medical community, the doctors who are out there, they need to be supported by us. How? The best way to support these people is to observe and implement all the directives or all information or guidelines given by the Ministry of Health. Number 1, social distancing. Those information that are given out. Prevention is better than treatment. If we avoid crowds, if we avoid shaking hands, if we avoid coming together, we must suspend all social gatherings, whether it's spiritual gathering, whether it is wedding, whether it is funeral, it has to be observed. Should we apply all this, we are going to be fine. Finally, there are some issues that I will not discuss in the media here concerning anything I want to tell Ambassador. These are for the public to know. But other details will be discussed without the press later. But now, I want to thank the Ambassador for coming to South Sudan Civil Society Alliance office. And I want also to tell our people that please do not ignore all the guidelines from the Ministry of Health. These are the best tools. If we use this tool, we are going to be fine. If not, remember, we only have 4 ventilators in the country. Remember, we have our own issues in this country. Coronavirus is the last thing that you want to deal with. Our people must listen. There was a rumor in the US that people were saying this coronavirus does not affect or catch it by the black people, which is totally wrong. When I saw the CNN, 70% of the black people were actually affected by coronavirus. Simply because you don't have access to the good health care. If you have diabetes, if you have blood pressure, if you have any other diseases, and you don't go to hospital, of course, if you catch coronavirus, it is difficult for you to survive. So I want to tell South Sudanese people, this coronavirus can catch you, it can kill you. The only way to avoid it, and we pray for Almighty God The only way to avoid it is just to follow the guidelines from the Ministry of Health. Very important. Thank you, Ambassador, for coming.
Visit the Civil Society Alliance. As we know that CSA has been very actively in pushing forward the peace process of South Sudan. And now we are fighting together against the virus. So the Civil Society Alliance has been involved in another war, that is the People's War against the Covid-19. And the chairman approach, honorable, is very kind on the China-South Sudan relationship. And we are very happy. Actually, myself, personally, like Ambassador Duku, would be very happy to engage with the civil society, to engage people at the grassroots. I know you are representing people across the country, and you have the most comprehensive contacts with local people. One of China's experience in fighting the COVID-19 is that everybody is a stakeholder. Everybody needs to be involved in the war against the virus. And everybody needs to be self-disciplined. I think that the Civil Society Alliance has set a very good example. Everybody is wearing masks and we keep social distance. So without the participation of people, of any individuals, it will be very difficult for us to win a victory over the virus. So Chairman asked me to introduce a little bit about the China-South Sudan relationship and our cooperation in fighting the COVID-19. Yeah, I think indeed we have enjoyed a very solid and close relationship between China and South Sudan. Since the independence of South Sudan in 2011, our relationship has grown very rapidly and steadily. China, within our capacity, has been making our utmost effort to support the peace, development, reconstruction of the country. As Chairman just mentioned, we are among the first country to provide in-kind support for the cantonment unification of the army. And over the years, every year, we provide about 100 scholarships to South Sudanese students. And besides that, we provide hundreds of short-term training programs for professionals in different kinds of sectors. We trust the human resources will be the future of the country. The country is a country with very good natural conditions, hardworking people. It will be able to get more self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Not only humanitarian aid is necessary during this transitional period, but I trust South Sudan will be able to develop itself by its own strength. So we have been investing quite a lot of resources on training or providing higher education degrees to South Sudanese people. And also we put education, healthcare as our priorities. I think many people are aware that we have built the Mayadit Women's Hospital in Rumbek and the new Juba Teaching Hospital. This is the phase 1, and we are working on the phase 2 as well. And I'm glad to inform the public that every year we train dozens of local medical workers. 7 doctors, they are now receiving training courses in Anhui province. And they will be back soon and join the battle against the virus. And also we provided more than 1 million copies of textbooks for the primary students. And we also provided special fundings for the anti-malaria campaign and for many other specific areas. And the Chinese companies are widely engaged in the energy industry, infrastructure industry. So we believe that with our joint efforts, with the progress of peace process, South Sudan will be able to achieve its goal of national and social development and progress. Under current circumstance of fighting the epidemic of COVID-19, we also have been working very closely. The Chinese companies, foundations, Marine and Alibaba, they have been provided 2 batches of in-kind support, medical supplies to South Sudan. And they are now working with African Union as Ethiopia government to provide the 3rd batch of the medical supply. I think it will take quite a short time, it will be delivered here. It will significantly enhance our capacity here to contain or stemming the virus. And our government, embassy here, is also keep close communication with Health Ministry, Foreign Ministry here to working out a supply program that is from our government. And so far, China has been giving support to more than 150 countries. As I wrote in my article on newspaper, when our wounds are still bleeding, we're standing up to help other countries. Our economy has been hurt quite dearly. The first quarter of GDP, the growth, has been hurt by 6.8%. It has decreased, 6.8. But even in such kind of difficult situation, we are determined to support other countries, especially the African countries, in their fight against the pandemic. So for the whole African countries, China now the government has sent 2 medical teams. One is to Ethiopia, one is to Burkina Faso, to support the local campaign against the epidemic. And yesterday, I think today or yesterday, our medical team to Ethiopia, they will hold video conference with AU's experts and the professionals to share China's experience in the epidemic control and the prevention. So since the outbreak of the epidemic, China has done our best to protect the international students, especially the African students in China. We have more than 50,000 African students and some other residents there in China. At the peak of the epidemic, though many university staffs, local government officials, they have their families in very difficult situation, but they treated the South Sudanese students, African students, as their own children. And it is almost a miracle, for 50,000 African students in China. No one was hurt by the infection of the virus. And only one Cameroon student, he was infected with light symptom and has been well treated and recovered. So it's not an easy job. You could look out every country in the world. I can see that no country is acting like China to take such good care of the students in China. So we know some of the information on the social media, but this is not the whole picture. Many of them are misinformation, and some of them we know that has been manipulated. Some of the frustration is genuine. We always hold the position that Chinese government, from the very beginning of its founding, we have been fighting with African friends to gain national independence, national liberation against any kind of colonialism. And over the decades, China has sacrificed more than, we remember the Tanzania to Zambia railway. More than 60 Chinese engineering, it is during the 1960s or something. More than 60 Chinese engineers sacrificed their lives in building the railway. And over the years, China has been sending the medical teams to dozens of African countries, more than 40, I think. And more than 50 Chinese medical workers, doctors, also lost their lives. So we see Africa as our second home. And we have no reason to have any kind of differential treatment towards the African brothers and sisters. And the local government, they are doing their utmost to further control the possible spread of the epidemic. You know, China has been controlled our domestic infections, but we're facing a growing problem of imported cases. And to adopt a stricter measure, their proposal is to ensure everybody is safe and sound. If China, the resurgence of the epidemic happened again, it will be a disaster for everybody. So we're very happy to see that our South Sudanese friends and brothers, they understand the situation. And we have been very clear, if there's any kind of myths or improper actions or rhetorics, will be dealt with in accordance with the law. So I'm really grateful for Chairman Akacho arrange such kind of meeting, which is really very helpful. And as I told the media that the relationship between China and the African country has withstand the test of all kinds of challenges. And we can only work more closer to advance our friendly relationship, and we will not allow any individual incidents or cases to disrupt us from our concentration on the current war against the virus. That's the message I wish to share with the press, and I thank you for your support and your understanding towards the Chinese government and the Chinese people. Thank you very much.
Member of the press, I don't need to take a lot of time because Brother Coach, the chair of the Alliance of South Sudanese Civil Society, elaborated everything, and my colleague, Ambassador Huan Ning, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, elaborated more detail. Mine is to say this: the Republic of South Sudan and China has a very strategic relationship. This strategic relationship is anchored in the close coordination between our president, His Excellency President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and then the President of China, Xi Jinping. In 2018, when President Xi Jinping met President Salva Kiir in the sideline of FOCAC, the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation, they agreed on closer coordination for our two countries. That close bond is what anchor our relationship, and that's what filter in my relationship with my colleague, Ambassador Huan Ning. We work very closely together to advance this relationship. For the people of South Sudan and you, the civil society, and then the media, it is very important to know certain facts. The fact is that China is a friend indeed, because at the time of our need, China stood with us. I'm not saying this because I'm ambassador of the Republic of South Sudan to China. I want you to go back to 2013, when we have this unfortunate incident in Juba here. Most of the international diplomatic mission evacuated their people. China did not take anybody out of South Sudan. Instead, they brought in the doctor. The plane which is taking off Western diplomats and evacuating them, China is bringing the plane in, bringing the Chinese doctors. There's no more testimony to explain how close we are. When other people are running away, China came in. This is very important for you to know, for history and for the future of this country. Number two, during the peace process, the revitalized peace agreement, it is very important for you to know, up to this moment, China is the only permanent member of the United Nations Security Council which have endorsed this agreement. United Nations Security Council consists of 5 permanent members. China is the only one. United States of America did not endorse the revitalized peace agreement. France have not endorsed. Russia did not endorse. The United Kingdom did not endorse. Now, China did not only endorse, but it also provide political and financial support. The ambassador mentioned the cantonment. China provided non-food item and food item for cantonment. These are practical examples we're talking about, not lip service. We do appreciate the fact that what China is doing must be put in context so that people of South Sudan know it. China cannot help South Sudan with all it needs, but we are also appealing to other diplomatic missions in South Sudan. They should stop this public relation exercise. Public relation exercise making an empty announcement. If you are serious to support South Sudan, provide assistance. The plane have been arriving in Juba from China, bringing food, bringing critical medical assistance. We want those who are also pledging the same need to bring it to us. It's not enough to say that we pledge so amount of money. The emergency of the COVID-19 does not have time for just empty announcement. If anyone wants to help South Sudan, it is now. South Sudan like a house in a fire. If you want to help this country, come and bring the water, let us extinguish this fire. Now, not just saying that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do not coming in. It is very important that we, the people of South Sudan, heed the advice of ambassador and heed the advice of the brother Akoch, that we must, it's not a matter of choice, we must follow the directives from the high-level task force. It is very important that we don't have the necessary medical facility to mitigate this sickness, given the fact that we came from this unfortunate war. Our medical infrastructure is very weak. I'm not ashamed as Ambassador of the Republic of South Sudan to say openly here that we have weak medical infrastructure. It's not an insult, these are the fact. To protect this weak medical infrastructure, we must adopt preventive measures. And these preventive measures are outlined by the Minister of Health, and we must follow it. You, the media, you go around Juba, you find that our people are not taking this seriously. Some people feel that this corona is not worse, it's the hunger which is worse. You know, we have nobody dying of hunger globally the way corona has been killing people. Rich countries, Europeans, Americans, are dying in thousands. They have good medical care, they have money, they have everything. They could not prevent corona killing their people. What about us? Who does not have medical facilities, does not have the resources we have, does not have the kind of all what the other rich country has. The corona still killed them in thousands. So for us, we have been saying this again and again that please take it as a personal challenge for you. Corona does not travel. It is people who carry corona. Coronavirus does not come to your house. It is you who are going to bring the coronavirus to your house. If you don't want coronavirus, keep social distance. If you don't want coronavirus, adhere to the Minister of Health guidelines. You don't want to bring coronavirus to your family, don't go out if you don't have anything to do. This is very important. Coming to relations between China and South Sudan, as Ambassador of the Republic of South Sudan, I've been receiving a lot of query from our people about the welfare of South Sudanese in China. I want to take this opportunity to underline that in China, we have two categories of South Sudanese in China. One category is the diplomats, headed by myself as ambassador. The second category are students, who ambassador have outlined it, who went for scholarship. And these students are in various universities. We don't have expatriates from South Sudan living in China, whether working with the UN agency or doing business or anything else. Those categories doesn't exist. China is the only country in the world which have got zero immigration. There's no refugee status in China. I want everybody to know this. Nobody should think that they go to China to seek for asylum. Asylum is not available in China, like other countries. No immigration, like people are taken for resettlement in China. China, with a population of over 1.4 billion people, have no room for immigration. Now, my conclusion is that a lot of things have been done with the People's Republic of China or South Sudan. Ambassador, I will line a few of them, but let me say this. What China has been doing in South Sudan, it is a voluntary commitment for China to enhance the capacity of South Sudan. As a peace dividend, now if you go to SSBC, South Sudan Broadcasting Corporation television station, you will see a very huge building coming up there. This is the modern studio, almost completing now. The structure is finished as a donation from China. China will build that structure. They will equip it. For the first time, South Sudan will have capability to move to the digital migration, which we could have never done it without the support of China. This is very solid for you, the media, to know it. And any South Sudanese who is doubting this, I'm inviting them to visit the SSBC facilities to see for themselves what's happening there. I want to thank Ambassador and people of China on behalf of the President, the Minister of Information, Michael Makwe, and the rest of people of South Sudan for the generous support China has given to people of South Sudan. As Ambassador also, we have to appreciate the fact that Brother Coach talked about 4 ventilators in South Sudan. But I'm very happy to inform you, if you do not know it, last week, the second batch of the donation from Alibaba Group, they brought in 5 new ventilators, in addition to what already here. Let me also say this. People must not misunderstood the meaning of ventilator. Ventilator is not used by everybody. I'm not a medical person, but the common sense says that ventilators are used for only people who are in critical condition, not for everybody. If your health condition is good, you don't have any issue with the breathing, because ventilator is intended to support you when you have problem breathing. So let people should not think that if you don't have ventilator, therefore there's no support. No. Right now in China, even if you have cash money, you want to buy a ventilator, you cannot buy it because there's a very long queue of demand for ventilator in China. Europeans are demanding, Americans are demanding, other countries are all demanding, because China is the only country now with the capability to supply this, because they have contained this disease in their country. And how did China contain it? Not because they have medicine. China take vigorous application of social distance, apply all the principles underlined by the WHO, which was also here in South Sudan. If there's anything we can learn from China, is to follow the guidelines, because there's no medicine. I don't want to take too much time. I want to thank you, the member of the media, and our coach for inviting me to come here to join my colleague, Ambassador Huan Ning, in this update. But regarding the situation of the social media, I would have missed out if I don't say this, because I've been asked a lot of questions. I am among the ambassadors in the People's Republic of China who have come together and put a statement on the issue of this unfortunate situation in China. The Chinese government met with my colleagues in Beijing and agreed to look into what is the cause of this upheaval in Guangdong province, in the town of Guangzhou. There is already a representative, according to the meeting which took place between ambassadors in China, African ambassador in China, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to look into what is causing the problem. The representative of the national government is working together with the representative of the provisional government of the Guangdong province to look into this problem of what's taking place there. I want to say to you, people of South Sudan, that in every society, there can be 1 or 2 or 3 or few people who can take law into their hand, which does not need government policy. So whatever happened in Guangzhou, there should be some individuals who have taken law into their hand and act in different way. But that is a responsibility now. The Chinese government is looking into it to address that problem. As ambassador in China, I have never came across any racial or otherwise during my almost 2 years now in China. The South Sudanese students in China have not reported to us issue concerning racism. But there was an issue concerning compulsory test. Some South Sudanese students, 2 students were subjected in Guangzhou for compulsory tests. I am in contact with my colleague here, and we are very glad to announce to you that these students who were subjected for this test, the result came negative, and now they are free to move around with their routine within the university. This echo that no South Sudanese students has been tested positive with COVID-19 all over China. That's the good news for the parents and the relatives of these students. We as the Republic of South Sudan have no plan. I want to repeat again. Republic of South Sudan have no plan to evacuate any student from China, because right now these students have resumed their classes online in various universities. We don't want to interrupt their studies. Unless there is a major situation, Chinese government will not handle it, that will be revisited. But right now, the situation is under control. The pandemic is contained in China, and these students are back in the class, not normal class, through distant learning, through what they call distant learning through online teaching. Thank you very much.